we're all here. It's just me.
Okay, well, luckily we got back on, so we don't have to reconvene on April 4th.
We're missing Tom
And
and Carol. Right?
Yep.
okay.
Want to get
Kim,
it out?
mine cut out when you were on the statistical report, which is, I think, when everyone else cut out too.
Yeah, thank you.
Just FYI.
So we'll wait a minute and hope that Tom clicks back in.
Tom and Carol are making an early
Oh,
exit.
Carol. I hope not.
I'm gonna see if I can. I'm just gonna call Tom and
I'll text Carol. Hold on.
Did that happen to be a power surge?
I'm not sure. Danielle, do you have any sense of what happened?
Gay, did you lose power at all since you're one of the co-hosts?
I had a blip. Sorry, guys. I thought having co-hosts would make a difference. It did not. So the meeting's
Okay.
going to be in 2 sections. My apologies. And there'll be no
Okay.
transcript from the first part because, of course, I didn't get a chance to save it.
Okay.
Oh,
Ooh, sorry, Faith.
so
We're just waiting on Carol for a second.
Fun with snow.
I don't usually rely on the transcript, Jay. I'm more likely to listen again because the transcript's phonetic and it often, does
Okay.
not provide the, but I always use it as like a last review. But kind words are always appreciated.
Carol is logging back on.
okay, good.
Right.
And I wonder what's. I'll call Tom.
No, Tom.
Oh, Tom is there twice.
Oh, Tom's here? Where is he?
Yeah, twice. At the bottom.
Oh, I see. No picture. Tom, we don't see you.
Can hear you, Carol.
Did everyone's fail or just mine?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, well, I guess it
It's
can
a surprise last meeting for both of you.
happen, so, yeah.
Okay, so everybody's here, so we can start up again.
Talking about statistics.
Yes. Statistics were up. I think most of that, most of what I wrote was said.
Yeah.
But does anyone have questions about the stats as reported? Ms. Carol?
My question was whether, since we're going to be considering seniors who may want the physical digital thing rather than a streaming thing for books and, you know what I mean? If they want a DVD as opposed to streaming from Canopy or something. Do we have that statistic about how many of those are borrowed? And physical things or physical, even if they're a digital kind of media, that they're a physical thing that is borrowed?
Are you asking about like DVDs and their circulation?
DVDs, CDs, audiobooks that are on CD.
Yeah, we have the ability to look at that.
Yeah, because it seemed to me that would be a useful thing to be tracking now if we're, really looking to different populations. Some prefer the streaming and some, downloadable, and some prefer to borrow the, an object from the library.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the strategic plan too, Kim has
Right.
particularly noted that because, we want to preserve for the older population, the CDs and DVDs.
Right.
So, as long as people are interested in those, and that, there's some budgeting, I guess, or funding questions around that will be addressed, right?
Well, would be good to see how much circulation there is of these things, even though it's not going to be strictly a matter of numbers. It's going to be a matter of the needs of, a certain population. It would be interesting to see that, I suppose, to track that, how much use they are getting.
Yes.
Yeah.
A fun fact unrelated to our library, I just saw that vinyl sales outpaced CD sales for the first time in like 30 or like 25 years or something. Like,
Wow.
Yeah. Interesting. As I sit next to my record player. So
Well, you can see my LP, some of my LPs in the background.
I've got mine, yeah.
Okay.
My 8 tracks from the other side.
Mine are all melting in the attic.
No.
Okay.
So that is all that I have for my report. And then I think we're on to new business.
Okay, so now we're on to new business, in which first of all, we have a special occasion tonight, as we are losing, unfortunately, 2 of our most beloved trustees. We have a resolution for each of them, marking their term of service. So I will start with Carol J. Thomas, a resolution in appreciation of Carol J. Thomas. And be it resolved that Needham Free Public Library Board of Trustees honors and appreciates the services of Carol J. Thomas during her 3 consecutive terms from 2014 to 2023. Carol's thoughtful, intelligent, and conscientious presence for 9 years has helped guide the library through important periods of transition. Carol served in a variety of capacities on the board, including twice as chairperson, several times as chair of the Arts and Exhibitions Committee. She drafted the Board of Trustees' revised bylaws adopted in 2016, which laid out the board's duty to approve the strategic plan and annually review and report on those strategic goals and objectives. She also produced 2 of the annual progress reports. Her guidance and insight on review of library policies, the library budget, the trust fund allocations, and the accurate recording of minutes have proved invaluable. The townspeople of Needham the library have been well served by Carol Thomas's civic involvement and strong commitment to the Needham Free Public Library. Thank you, Carol. And I present to you
Thank you all. Thank you very much.
an engraved gift, which we will have to get to you in a designated way. And I feel like I'm doing a little TikTok video here, you're showing your.
Thank you. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Been a pleasure for the most part. It's been felt very worthwhile and
Jay, thank you, Carol. Next, I believe Jay is going to present a resolution. Oh, do we have to vote on the resolution, right? Yeah. So all in favor of, we need a second. Who would like to second? Anna has seconded. All in favor of the resolution in appreciation of Carol J. Thomas. I will do the roll call. Anna Kerr.
Aye.
Jay Fialkov.
Aye.
Erhard Grafe.
Aye.
Rob Pettit.
Aye.
Tom Harkins.
Aye.
Carol Thomas. You
I'll
vote in favor?
abstain. I'll abstain on this one.
Bill abstain, okay. And KK Hill, aye. So we are all in favor of Carol, the appreciation of Carol. Thank you, and that's passed. So I believe Jay is up next with
I'm
Thomas.
happy to read a resolution in appreciation of Thomas H. Harkins.
Thomas M.
Is that right? Then it's different. I looked it up online and it was wrong.
It's Michael.
Oh,
I'll fix that in the resolution.
actually, he's confused. I'm going to be reading a resolution about a different Thomas Harkins. Be it resolved that the Needham Free Public Library Board of Trustees honors and appreciates the historically lengthy service and invaluable contributions of Thomas Harkins to the Needham Free Public Library. Tom was appointed as a trustee in 1976 to fill a vacancy, and since then, and 17 elections later, Tom has served as a trustee for 47 years. During that time, Tom has filled a range of important roles as trustee, including serving as chair for 4 terms. Among his many accomplishments during his tenure, Tom championed the library's joining of the Minuteman Library Network, played an active role in connection with the library's 100th anniversary programs in 1988, was involved in the formation of the Library Foundation of Needham, contributed to the planning for the 2006 contemporary addition to the library's original Georgian Revival style building, represented the trustees in connection with the establishment of Needham's Permanent Public Building Committee, and participated in the preparation and review of several library strategic plans and the selection of 2 library directors. For 30 years, Tom also served as a school librarian in Waltham, and he thoughtfully brought this practical experience to bear on his service as trustee. Tom did his work with a humble devotion to serving the library, and he is much admired by his many trustee colleagues over the years for his calm manner, constant efforts, and unmatched institutional knowledge of, it sometimes seems, almost everything that has ever involved the library. In recognition of the many important contributions by Thomas Harkins, the trustees gratefully acknowledge his commitment to and service for the library and town of Needham, and wish him well on his retirement as a trustee.
Very nice. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Erhard. And all in favor of passing the resolution in appreciation of Thomas Harkins? I will call the roll call. Anna Geraldo Kerr.
Aye.
Jay Fialco.
Aye.
Erhard Grafe.
Aye.
Rob Pettit.
Aye.
Carol Thomas. Carol, we didn't hear you, but I saw your mouth moving. And KK Hill, aye. And
Aye.
Tom Harkins.
Abstain.
Abstained. So the motion is passed enthusiastically, and we thank you heartily, both of you. And Anna has a question.
I just want to show, let me see where my camera is here.
Oh,
There
yes,
is
then
something else
Tom's-
for you, Tom, that I'm not going to open, so I'll keep it for you for a few, and then we'll get it to you.
We'll get it, we'll figure out what method to get it to you. Okay,
Thank you.
so.
Thank you.
Oh, and I just wanted to mention as a note, an addendum to that there is a proposal that Tom Harkins the Board of Trustees consider naming Tom Harkins as a trustee emeritus, should he so choose to play that role. And so I'm basically letting people know that that's been proposed, and that at our next meeting, we can vote on that option. So just giving people a heads up. If that's okay with you, Tom.
Sure, sounds good to me.
Yeah, I guess the idea would be that Tom would be able to sit at the table. He would not have a vote, but he could choose to sit at the table and be acknowledged and be recognized by the chair to provide insight, historical background, or whatever he wants. So that'll be at our next meeting. Anna.
Is this open to any former trustee, or is this, I'm curious, I'm trying to understand how we came about this.
Tom?
Yes, in the past, we did it when Ray Bosworth retired and when Roman Jean Brown retired. So that was a thing. And as you know, I don't, it isn't up to, it has no legal basis whatsoever. No, no procedural thing. It's an, I don't get anything benefit of it any more than anyone else did, but it's I think it's a nice recognition, and I'm very appreciative of the offer. But as
Your resume, Tom.
yeah, that's my resume. Yeah,
That's right.
another thing to put in my obituary.
Oh,
Come on. No.
we will. So we'll have a vote on that at our next monthly meeting. Any other questions or discussion around the trustees appreciation? All right, in that case, we'll move on to
Okay, may I
The
ask
state
a
aid.
question? May I ask a
Yes.
question? This is
Yes.
Faith. Could the two people who wrote out those lovely things, can I email them to get the exact language?
Yes.
I don't want to miss anything in the minutes.
yes, we will
Because they're
email
so
them
important to get-
we want them to be put in the public record for this meeting, of course.
Yeah, and I don't want any mistakes. I'd rather have them, and I
We'll
did
s-
take notes and I'll listen, but I would rather
No,
have it if it,
Kay,
I'll reach
Kay,
out
you'll
to you,
send,
but I
you'll
just
send
wanted
both
to
of
let
them?
you know.
Yes, I'll send them both.
That'd
Okay.
be lovely, Kay, and I
Great.
apologize for interrupting your next
that's no problem.
addendum item.
I understand. Okay, so back to Kim
Hey.
on the state aid.
Yes, so this one's fairly simple and straightforward. It's a request to unencumber $4,835 for Sterling Brand Works. This was something we voted on last month to approve because we had a bill come in and need to figure out how to pay it very quickly. It was paid for by the Friends and the Foundation. Thank you to both of those organizations. We're waiting to hear back still about whether or not state aid funds can be used for this in the future, but we'll get an answer before we need it next. Yeah.
So do we have any idea what the issue is around whether or not we can pay for that out of state aid? Is there?
Yeah, so the issue would be that it is taxpayer money, and the way that the website process happened was outside of the normal bid process for the town and for just government in general. And so because of that, because private money was used, that was okay, but that meant that private money was used. And so we have to determine, whether this is a separate project, separate, spending from that initial project of the creation of the website. Not many organizations in the town have their own independent websites. So I think this is new for everyone, and I just haven't heard back from Dave.
Okay, so we will need a motion to unencumber. Did you state the exact amount, Kim?
Yes, $4,835.
Okay, can we have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
Second by Carol. Okay, all in favor of unencumbering state aid funds? I will take the roll call. Anna Geraldo Kerr,
Aye.
Dave Fialco,
Aye.
Erhard Grafe,
Aye.
Rob Pettit,
Aye.
Carol Thomas,
Aye.
Tom Harkins,
Aye.
myself, Kay Cahill, aye. It's passed unanimously. Great.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so we have another vote coming up. Kim can explain.
yes, so we have two display cases up on the second floor by the art wall. One of them has been moved into a more visible location. So right when you walk in from Highland Ave, this case is there. However, it's not always filled by the artist that we have that month. This does come under the art committee purview. And that's something that in the long term, we would look at the art committee kind of policies to maybe add this in there. But for now, what I'm looking for is a vote to allow the library staff permission to use that display case so that when it's not in use by the artist that the art committee has, approved, so that it's a nice visual welcome to the library instead of a empty case when it's not in use. So that is what I'm hoping to have a vote on.
So do we want to have a motion and then discussion? Carol, you want to make a motion first and then discuss, or?
I would say so moved to do that. And I would add for discussion that I think it's a terrific idea because we just don't have enough applicants for the display case. It really looks pretty barren. A lot of the time, I think it's a wonderful idea. I'm glad you thought of it, Kim. And like so many things, great ideas you've come with. So I would encourage us to do that. And it is a bigger process to revise the policy, just because there's a little bit of research I think we should do about the restrictions, particularly on political and religious language that we have in the current policy. So I think that this is good to get this out of the way, and the other will come when it comes, when there's time to revise.
Tom,
I think this is authorizing. It's something that, the thing's empty, and we have to vote for the other people, the other exhibits, we won't have to do that. This makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
other comments? My only comment is that just, the arts committee would get first dibs at the content if they have an artist and that the other materials that might go in there would go in if the arts committee can't fill the which I think is what has been proposed.
Mhm.
Yes. Okay. So do we have a second for that motion?
Second,
Okay, thanks, Anna. All in favor, roll call. Anna Geraldo Kerr,
aye.
Dave Fialco,
Aye.
Gerhard Grafe,
Aye.
Rob Pettit,
Aye.
Carol Thomas,
Aye.
Tom Harkins,
Aye.
myself, Kay Cahill, aye, passed unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so let's see. Now we're into old business. So we have the strategic plan draft that Kim has resubmitted after our comment session and written comments submitted last meeting. Kim, you want to speak to that?
Yes, thank you, everyone. I think I spoke to pretty much everyone individually and got feedback in writing. I really appreciate it. We spent a lot of time reviewing, thinking about, and adding in a number of those changes and comments. There seems to be consensus around the goals and objectives, which is the main purview of the trustees. A lot of the comments were really around the action items, which we reshaped as well. We really tried to take in everything. A lot of the comments were fairly similar in nature. So there seemed to be some consensus there as well, which was nice. That made it easier. But I really wanted to just state out loud that I'm very supportive of this plan. I really like the way that it's turned out after all these comments. I think it's much stronger today than it was last month, which is, the process of drafts and brainstorming with everybody. I think that I just also want to say too, town management has looked at the plan, they're on board. The staff feel really good about it, which is a big difference from the last couple efforts, I think. And that I think is a very positive sign. They felt really included in the process, and I just feel very proud of that. And I think it's a good plan. I think the goals and objectives are really focused on the things that we know are needs. And it's a lot. It's still a lot. No amount of cutting down on the narrative and whatever was gonna make it super short. But I think we have a really good document in place to have a better conversation around what the needs are. So, I really strongly support it. And I apologize if that wasn't clear last time. I thought I generally would not bring something without being supportive of it. But it was a good reminder to me that I need to be more clear about where I stand on something of this nature. And, I really am supportive of this plan. So thank you all for the help.
Okay. And just, trustees can comment in a moment, but I just wanted to let people know that there is a proposal to have a special meeting to deal specifically with the strategic plan, so we can discuss it. You know, at these meetings, we have a great deal of other business, and so we're hoping sometime before the next regular meeting to have a special meeting on the strategic plan, during which time I'm hoping everybody's received what Kim has sent and also has had time to review. And if they have any additional written comments they want to submit, everyone should feel free to do that. And that we would have a special meeting in place to review any further draft and potentially take a vote. So I open it to comments at this point. Jay?
I just want to say, I appreciate how, I guess I want to say thank you to Kim and to Kelly for spearheading this effort and getting us to the point where we have, I think, such a, the framework of a very impressive plan that sets the stage for, important developments over the next several years. It's not easy, I know, to take into account the comments of 6 or 7 other people and look at all the comments, and I just want to say that it's obvious from comparing this revised plan to the first plan, the effort that went into turning it into what I think is a more readable and presented in a very strong way. I have the understanding that once we agree to the comfortable with the plan itself, there will be an effort to make it a more public-facing plan with graphics and imagery in a way that makes clear it's designed for the community to absorb it and understand it. And other than that, I'm happy to have the conversation at our next special meeting.
Totally.
Other trustees?
Yeah, I can just kind of speak
Carol?
quickly.
Oops, okay, Rob?
Rob is on.
Thanks. I would echo what Jay said. Certainly we appreciate the very hard work that Kim and Kelly have put into this plan. And frankly, I'm glad that this is erring on the side of ambitious rather than iterative. There are a lot of really exciting initiatives in here, and I think we're all aware that we're not going to be batting 100 on this over the next 5 years. And I think one important change that's been made to the plan to reflect that is an emphasis on the goals and objectives, with the action items being more of examples rather than specific mandates. And I think that's an important point when we consider this, that yes, this is quite a lot. There are a lot of things to be done over the next 5 years, but the focus here is really on the overarching goals rather than the specific action items.
Other trustee comments? Carol?
I was just going to ask about how we convey any specific comments. I also found this so much more readable.
Okay.
And I had hoped that the goals and objectives would first be highlighted and the actions would come later with the detail of it. And I think that does give the impression that Rob has just stated about those being more flexible. You may have new ideas, some may become impractical or unaffordable, whatever. So that I really like the structure better now. I do have a few, I do have comments, some of them that it's not really a good forum. Are you welcoming more communication before the next meeting? Are you open to that, or are we open to that? Or?
Kay, is that what? Yeah.
Yes, I believe that, if people have further, we're talking about written comments or on the
Yes.
document.
In terms of
I
process.
would think yes.
What is next? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did wonder about the selection of target years. When the first draft, there were years, but they weren't specified which project would likely go with which. And That's fine. I mean, as far as actions, as far as goals and objectives, do we care? That there is, is one given priority over another in terms of what happens first, as a trustee board? I'm not sure that I do. I kind of would like to see us make progress on all of them every year throughout the plan. And some of the actions seem like they're already in process. But is that an issue with anyone else on the board? I was wondering that we don't have specific years targeted for.
Carol, Anna.
Yeah, I had a similar observation. I definitely echo my colleagues' previous comments that I can relate. My background is in business. This speaks much better to me, although I have some comments of my own still, but it's much more understandable. And in terms of the timeline, maybe to have an idea, because I don't expect every single objective for every single goal to be attacked at the same time, right? So if they're just to give an idea of what are the priorities in year one, what are the priorities, that may be something that I'm thinking about, and perhaps we could have a much more summarized version of the plan with just the timelines. This is where and then a much more descriptive with all the actions, right? So we have the long version, we have the short version. So some ideas, but this is definitely a great step forward. So I'm looking forward to the discussion.
Tom.
Yes,
Tom.
I think I'm not as bothered by the no time thing at all, because we have to have flexibility, because a lot of things are contingent upon the space planning, the programs involved with the space planning and things like that. So I think that's an issue where we can deal that things. I think timeframes might not fit in that regard.
Can I just respond to that? I just
Carol.
wouldn't want it to sound as though anything we put in this plan in terms of timing is cast in stone. Every year there's a review, every year things change. It's a flexible, it should be a living document. So that even if we, if there were priorities set now, not to say that they wouldn't change, but it's gives you some idea, perhaps. I don't know whether it's actually useful or not, but it's something to consider.
Anna.
I concur with Carol. The idea of the timeline is just to get us an idea of the priorities, but it could be a fluid process. So whether it's every quarter, whatever the director may determine, to evaluate, and now you see we tried this and now we're going to move to this because of issues, concerns, timeframes, resources, etc. So it's not the excess on the years doesn't mean they're not there, as a one and done or cast in stone. Is more of to guide, and also for us to be aware where are the priorities and how are things evolving more than anything. But I mean, I'm not tied to it. It would be nice. It would be a nice addition for us to visually guide ourselves and the community. Oh, this is where we are with the plan. This is what we're doing in the name of transparency, because the transparency is an issue in town. So the more transparent we can become, the more buy-in we'll have when we are ready to ask for more money and resources.
And Rob.
I was just going to ask Kim what her thoughts are on this as the executor of this plan. Oh, you're on mute, Kim.
Oops, good thing I was on mute. So I definitely hear the comments about the time frames. However, I think the best way to work that through is each year at our kind of annual review sort of thing, we have discussion around what our likely steps going to be this next year? And we talk about priorities, and the way that the trustees have some oversight of this, right, is that review, but also through the budgeting process, right, there are a number of things in here that would require asks. And at those points, when I have DSR 4s coming up, like those additional budget things and budget asks, I would be asking the trustees to vote on their prioritization of that, of those asks. So each year that would kind of guide us as well. It's the budgetary component, as well as just generally us knowing what our big goals are, and determining what action items or what steps we can take as action items that would align with those goals and objectives. You know, there's certainly a number of things I'm sure that are not listed out as suggested actions, and there are some things that are suggested actions that may not happen within the 5 years, right? We've been all very clear about that. But the action items are not things that the trustees necessarily have control over. They are typically things that, as the director, I would do because they are in line with the goals and objectives. And so I just want to make sure we're having that broader conversation. And part of that is setting some of those priorities year to year together to collaborate on, okay, I know as the director, right, that I need to do a number of things with my staff over the next couple of years that's going to be crucial to the success of the rest of the plan. A lot of the components of each of these goals and objectives has to do with staff training and development. And I want us to be the best. It's not to say we have bad staff, we have great staff, but I think there's always room to improve, right? And that's my MO. And so I know we're going to need a number of those things to happen at the same time as we are looking to do outreach and doing the diversity audit and all of these things, right? But you're going to kind of have to look to me annually to tell you, I think these things are maybe accomplishable, but what's the priority? Like, and you guys tell me, well, we really want to see movement on this one, and we don't feel that there was enough last year, or whatever it is, right? Like, we would have that conversation, and it would be a collaborative process. I don't think having timeframes right now has no real bearing on the future, and I don't think it's a worthwhile use of our time to specify currently. I think it's an annual process.
Yeah.
I tend to agree with you in general. I suppose the thing would be that you need to specify what you are thinking for the first year, or is it only for the first few months, because we're almost to the end of that year?
Yeah,
and then what for
yeah.
next year?
I think it would be a conversation once the plan is voted on, then we would have those conversations about what the priorities are for the year.
I mean, it's impossible for one thing to do a review of something if you haven't set your goals for the year. What are you putting it up against? It's a 5-year plan, and we're talking about a 1-year chunk. I mean, the trouble with, we've had in the past is some of these things got kicked down the road. The can got kicked down until we were in the first year, the second year, the third year. Every year we say, well, what about? And it gets, well, we're still within the 5 years, but we weren't within our goal time frame, the more specific time frame. I don't imagine this will be an issue, but I was just wondering how that would actually operate in real life if somebody has to be on a committee to write up a review of how we're doing on our strategic plan, goals and objectives for a single year.
Maybe between now and our special meeting, there's some brainstorming could be done about how to find a middle ground on this question of, whether we should assign yearly achievement, the goals and forgetting the goals and the actions. Kim can kind of come to a potential proposal to address that between now and our next meeting, where rather than leaving it entirely blank, maybe there is a way to get some kind of calendar going. Also, I just wanted to say that I think there's been a wonderful the revised plan is very good. Lots of good changes. I love how we, went for the big ticket items, we couched our language a little bit to say we were going to investigate these possibilities or staff additions. And additionally, I think, we hired a new director last year because of her vision, because of her, we liked what she had to say about the future of Needham Library. And, this is her plan, this is her vision, and this is why we brought in a new person to, and she's got lots of great ideas about organization of the library and staff training and training, crossover training. And so this is why we brought Kim in. And so I feel strongly that, a lot of support for the vision that we saw when we hired Kim, and that she's now putting forward for us.
Hear, hear.
Hey,
I just had one other last comment, which is I thought it really made sense to remove that chart where what you were going to do in each year over the year, which would have involved some sort of fictional imagination as to what order it was going to go. I think the plan, it benefits from not having, that sort of, imaginative chart.
Tom?
Remember, it's a 5-year plan. It's not 5 1-year plans.
Right, but you review it annually, and I think that's the
Yeah, we
time to
review
talk
it
about,
annually.
so that's a time to talk about like what our goal is really for the next year and what we want to focus on. Obviously, a lot of this is going to be happening all the time, right? Like there's never a year where we're not going to be looking at, DEI or staff training or those types of things. But I don't know that I would necessarily feel comfortable ever agreeing to, we're going to focus on goal 1 and not really work on these other things, right? Like, so then I don't really see the benefit of deciding it before approving the plan or in conjunction with the approval of the plan. But, that'll be for discussion, and I'm happy to talk further about it, offline throughout, before the next meeting. I'm not sure that,
Okay.
yeah.
So, okay, Erhard.
I just wanted to jump in because I haven't had a chance to say anything yet about the plan. Just echoing everyone's kind of statements that I'm really excited about this plan. I'm excited about the revisions. I'm excited to go in depth on this in a special session. I think there's some opportunities here for us as a board to imagine how we use the annual review that we do in a way that really pushes forward this work. And so I think we could be creative about that's responding to some of these questions and concerns that folks are raising. And so I think that's an opportunity for us to advocate for what's in this plan in the ways that we approach that annual review, and that can be on us and not just on Kim to be thinking about.
Great idea. I think that at this point, probably we should defer further discussion to the special meeting, which I think what would be best would be if Kim could put out some dates. Trying to organize these things. There's always that tricky difficulty of the public meeting laws where I'm trying to reach out to the whole board, and
Sure.
I have to tread carefully. So maybe Kim could propose some dates and people could respond to her about when we would get together for that meeting.
So if you're looking for them now, the 21st and
I actually wasn't looking now, but we could. I suppose you could put them out there and people can, get back to you later. At another.
Yeah, I
time.
think something like the 28th might be good if people feel strongly that they have a lot more comments to add. I will say Kelly's kind of out of this at this point, so this work has been truly on me to do and is taking my time to facilitate. So I would really love if we stuck to the high level goals and objectives, things that really will make a difference in the outcomes of the plan, because this was a really massive effort, and I'm glad people seem to have liked it more, but it was a lot of work for me personally to do this, because Kelly had done her revision and presented her draft, and that's what our work agreement was with her. So at this point, any further changes, I would ask that they be pretty big, because we had that opportunity to to give that feedback, and then to have a discussion meeting separately where you can work out some of the additional comments and things.
So just one reason I thought the 28th is probably the single day that does not work for me. So probably we'll need to have, and I'm sure everybody else has constraints as well. So maybe we'll defer the discussion of exactly which date to kind of an email conversation.
Sure.
And, you know, take it from there. That work for everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Excuse,
All
I
right,
have a
so
quick question.
we're gonna
quick
move on
question.
to the,
Uh,
yes? Oh, I'm sorry, Anna?
Is the goal to have the meeting before the next monthly meeting? Is that the goal? Right?
Yes.
I'm just to try to see when are we, I'm all about timing. And what can I say?
Yes, I think it would definitely be before, because all of us are now familiar with the plan, and yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense rather than trying to have two new people starting from the beginning. I don't know how how other trustees feel about that question.
Just to have an idea of what would work.
All I know is you have me to kick around for another meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, I will.
Kim,
email
Kim, do you need me to take minutes at this meeting?
we probably would, Faith. I'll talk to you offline about it. Thank you.
Yeah, because I'm going to be away for a couple
I'll
weeks, so
talk to you
that's why I
offline.
wanted to make sure I'm happy to do it as long as I'm here.
Yep.
I'm always happy to do it. Just point of information. I won't interrupt again.
Okay, so any further? Thank you. Okay, so just on the next oh, I realized I was off, I was muted. We have the next item on the agenda is the April election update. There has been some change there. So one of the four candidates for our 3 slots has declined to run. So we now have 3 candidates for 3 slots. And as of our next meeting, which will be held on April 12th, the day after the election, we will have our one incumbent who's running, Erhard Grafe, will be with us, and presuming other things go as expected, there are 2 other candidates, Michael O'Neill and Megan Small, who are likely to be joining us. And all of those candidates will need to, the day after the election, get over to town hall and be sworn in by Hetty Eaton before our meeting that night. So any other comments on the election update? Oh, okay. Okay, our next item is climate action plan outreach.
Yes, and unfortunately, I don't have much of an update right now. I have reached out to the Climate Plan Action Committee, but have not been able to get in touch with them yet. As soon as I do have an update, I will share that with the board.
Thank you, Rob. Any other comments or on that topic right now? No, okay. And the space planning study update.
Erhard, do you want to?
I'll hand it over to Kim, because Kim's been meeting with UTL. We've had 2 in-person meetings since they started the process, and things seem to be going well. And we have another meeting coming up this Thursday, I believe. That'll be virtual. But I think Kim has the handle on most of the details there, since she's been most involved in that process.
Yes. So we have a survey up. Hopefully you've seen it. It's on our website. We've also been handing out bookmarks with QR codes, putting them up all over the building. We're in the process of sending it out to a number of listservs within town, like different community listservs, not just like library specific ones. The survey is available in English, Spanish, Russian, and Chinese. And I think it speaks highly to the commitment to DEI that UTL has, because they were able to do that translation all in-house, which is really amazing. So Yeah, not very often that you'd be able to do all of those languages somewhere. So that was really special, I thought. And they have about 133 responses so far to that survey. It's very short. Earhart had a great addition of obviously asking for comments, like just open comment at the end. And so they've added that in as well. And they've met with Paula Dugan and Aaron Bassett and I to talk about some of the youth services spaces. And they also met with a small group of, well, actually, I don't know how small, I didn't hear yet, but they met with a pretty decent handful of seniors on March 8th. A lot of them were Friends Board members. And, you know, there were some other people, staff were kind of perusing the building for a couple of days ahead of time to let people know that this was an opportunity that was happening. So that happened on March 8th. And then they're going to meet with a small group of teens on March 15th virtually. And they'll be back in the building to meet with us generally on Thursday as well. So a lot going on. They have provided programs like their floor plans kind of that show our space as it is now and what some of the needs might be, like what they might look like were identified. And this meeting, I think they'll be coming to us with programs that reflect some of the changes. And it's just a very, very like the start of the start. They expect to revise their floor plans a number of times. It's kind of just seeing what works, what stands out, what doesn't. But I think they're really on top of it, and I'm very, very excited to see what they have for us on Thursday. Any questions about the planning?
Yeah,
Anna.
I missed the part where you mentioned that there's going to be a conversation with teens. Is that virtual, or I don't see it on the calendar, or where can I find
that's just gonna be
information?
virtual. So we were reaching out to a number of people that we knew, you know, some parents of teens that we knew, things like that. They started to spread the word. Aaron's been adding it. There's like a library club at the school that meets. And at this point, I think, you know, I have to check in with them, but I think we're near kind of, I would say what they want to max the group out at in terms of numbers. Yeah.
So they've selectively recruited as opposed to open to the public.
We've talked to the teams that are in the building, like, you know, we've been putting
I
up a
see.
lot, talking
Okay.
to them, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay.
No, and
Any other
thank you
comments?
for the I looked at the survey and I looked at it when there was no comment section. I am glad that there is a comment. That's always helpful. So thanks for that.
Yeah, thank you, Earhart.
Yes, I looked at the survey too, and I was glad to see it, and I thought it was nicely put together.
Yeah, and that can obviously go to anyone, you know, whatever age group that can read and use a computer.
Yes, and we could share it on our social media. So
Yes,
always a
please
good thing.
share.
How long will that be open, that survey?
It's open-ended right now. They don't have a
Okay.
date that it'll come down, but I think, you know, 133 people, they're, you know, they'll probably leave it up for a few more weeks. Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, so TikTok it, everybody. Get your TikTok. Great. Okay, so is there any news on the equity and inclusion resolution? Any activities there?
There is one on my end. We the Needham Connects had their second book club discussion of Under the Skin, and we had 11 folks. It was a very interesting, insightful discussion that actually has created a small kind of like a email trail of folks who started to share articles, discuss the issues, and it was all from the participants. Carol, you were there. I don't know if you have any thoughts.
There are always articles coming.
Carol?
People
You're muted.
can't hear me.
I can hear you now.
Yep.
Yeah, there are always new instances that are sort of examples are related to what the book is about. So that just it can be an ongoing sort of group discussion of what people are seeing, observing, that make the point or branch out on the points that the author makes in that book. So it's been quite interesting to follow. I'm still waiting for my version to arrive. I ordered the audio version, and there must just be one, because I ordered it in January, and I'm waiting.
Yeah,
But anyway,
that's, sorry, Carol, go ahead.
yeah, it's all right. I can read a different version. I just haven't gotten to it, so I will. But anyway, it was a very good discussion, and the author was not present. It was moderated by two of the members of the group who took charge of raising questions for discussion. It was very well handled, and I would recommend this Needham Connects to others. I don't know what the next book is. Maybe Anna can tell us.
Yeah, I'll share that next in April. It's still in the final stages, but it will be. I think this year the selections will be really powerful. Couple more points. One is a tiny glitch that hopefully will be solved. Is that the books? I myself had to waiting for my copy. So this could be a bottleneck for folks who want to read the book, and there are only limited amounts, and folks may not return them on time. So I don't know how to address that issue, but when I requested my book, there was like a 24-week wait period.
Wow.
So it was kind of like, so we need to figure that out. So that's one thing that I wanted to bring up.
Was that Under the Skin?
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought they were all available at the library.
Yeah, they were, but again, maybe I was too late. I didn't want to be the first one, because I want to give folks the opportunity to get them first, right? When I went to borrow it, it was, and I've heard several folks who have had to wait several weeks for books that are being promoted in book club. So that I don't know what's happening. So I just want to bring that up. And the other thing is that this, I'm putting in the chat. We have a partnership with Olin, who is actually having a virtual session about this same book on March 30th, and the author will be in attendance. So if you want to have another chance, and it's a very interesting, a very important issue about health disparities, and not only in the health area, but in many different, in all of society, and how we can be part of the solution.
What is that?
It's in the chat, Tom. It's an online discussion hosted by Olin, where President Barabino is going to be talking with the author.
Chat has the
March
same,
30th.
Yeah, and
March
the
30th?
library, and
I just
we
had
are
it.
we're partners. We're
What day
promoting,
of the
helping
week
them
is-
promote.
What day of the week is March 30th?
It is, I'll tell you,
Okay.
it's Thursday.
Well,
I can just say, right,
Oh,
that.
and I have one.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Are
Oh,
y'all okay? I
yeah,
just wanted to ask the question to Anna about Needham Connects, and I think we have a delay going on here. I wanted to ask Anna, is Needham Connects now changing its status? Is it, you had mentioned previously that it was joining other groups, or is it joining with Olin, or what's happening?
No. Needham Connects is part of the library. We are just
Yeah.
for this particular time, it just so happened that the Needham Connects and Olin picked the same book for the same month. It was completely not planned. It just happened.
Oh, okay.
So when Olin saw our promotion, then they approached, I don't know if they approached Kim or Gay Ellen or someone at the library, and they bounced them off to me, so that I was coordinating how to focus on our own efforts while supporting them as well. So
I see.
that's it.
Thank you.
So
Originally, it was called Diversity Book Discussion Group or something like that. And at that time, the library started it in cooperation with another group. And it was, there were 3 trustees on the committee, and Rick Hardy, myself, and Anna. Yeah, but now there's just, so maybe it'd be an opportunity for another trustee to get involved in it.
yeah, we're trying to diversify the group and also to delegate to the sponsoring groups. So the Needham Diversity Initiative takes one book, Needham Human Rights takes another book, and the library takes another book. So and we're talking, see, do we remain, because it's a hybrid. It's run by the community, but there is one of the trustees is kind of the liaison. So we're
Okay.
trying to figure out what's the next iteration of the club. So anyway, but consider going
Okay.
to this event to support Olin, that is really strongly wanting to be a partner with us, with the town and the library.
So I just wanted to take the opportunity to kind of educate on how some of the hold systems work, because it is a good point. And I think that's something that it's important for trustees to be aware of generally, so they can speak about it when they talk to other people who use the library. But, that book has 37 copies in the system, and Needham owns 5 of them. And so not even every other library owns a copy. But it's also only 7 months old. And so that's a really tricky time to have a book club around a book, is within that first year, particularly where they're only available in hard copy, not paperback yet. And so they're very expensive for us to be purchasing as well. So I think maybe this is an area we could talk about in the future, how to plan titles that aren't quite as in demand, especially with, I think, unfortunately, Olin doing unfortunately, right? Like them also doing a program, but then people want that book. And we do have 5 of them, but that's kind of stretching. That's more than we typically, or not more than, but that's a pretty good amount for a new book. And so maybe we want to look at how to, ask the friends maybe to help support the effort of the Needham Connects, and by having a line item in there so that we can buy more copies. But this is where we have to make those choices, because our budget is not, infinitely large. But we do have 5 copies, and right now there's only 6 holds. So people clearly were taking them out for these programs and things too.
And in the past, in previous years, the library had committed to buying 10 copies.
Mhm.
So now it's 5. So it's good to know.
I'm not sure that's 5 all the time, but that's what we own of this book.
Okay.
But we should talk
Thank
about
you.
how to make that more successful.
How many copies did the friends buy?
I don't know that they necessarily bought any. We don't work with them on that at this point. But I'm saying,
It was by the Needham Connects book group. Okay, so these were paid for by the library?
yeah, as part of the Needham Connects. Mhm. Wait, Tom, did you get a free copy?
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So that is another thing too. We have a bunch of copies that we just give out on top of the 5 books that we purchased to be in the collection regularly. So people are invited to kind of read those books and return them as well, but typically, obviously, they don't usually come back because people just take them. So
I would have returned it. I would have read it.
oh no, not
Returned it. Yeah, overdue book. Here it is.
Shame on you, Tom.
But
just that
it happened that the meeting was scheduled for an Exchange Club meeting. And
yeah. So we saw that with like the Gish Jen book too, where we just had that, but that was specifically funded by the Friends to give out all those copies. So I think that's something that we should consider.
And I'll bring back the other one too.
There you go. You got all the books.
Now we know where they all are.
Yeah. But that's how it works. And it's important, I think, for people to understand how that works too. And that ebooks, anything like digital, we really have much less control over. And it's very expensive. It's something like $80 to $90 for each book when you get it electronically. And that's part of what the bill that I mentioned from Representative Balzer was about, how to, if you Google ebooks in libraries. There's a lot going on, but we get charged a lot, and it's not even to own the book. It's for a certain number of lending opportunities. And so we're paying like $80 to $90 where we might pay like 20 or less and get discounts on
Okay.
new hardcover. We don't get that on ebooks and anything like electronic, whether it's audiobook or print. But it's just a really good thing for people to be aware, because I think this came up so much in the strategic planning process and everything too. It's really good for the trustees to be able to articulate the wait times and how that works. So I'm always available offline if you have questions about any types of library operational kind of stuff that you're hearing in conversation or experiencing yourself. I'm always happy to discuss and answer those questions offline too.
Thank you, Kim.
Could I
Thank
just,
you, Anna.
could I just add one thing?
Yes, Carol?
At one time, we had a community read, one read, and in which the Friends and the LFN and the library participated. And there were discussion groups with, I don't know, the first year, 8 or 9 different organizations, and the Friends and the LFN, I think they took alternate years paying for the books or paying for something else to go with the program, maybe a speaker on the topic of the book. But that would be, I don't know if that's a program that will revive. It hasn't happened, certainly, of course, since COVID. So that would be something to think about too. And I think we sort of combined that with the previous iteration or the title of the Needham Connects book group. One of their books was the community read each year. So
We did that. Actually, we joined with another library to do that for the Gish Gen. That's why we bought all those copies of it. That was our community read. So I think there are some really interesting programs. Not to be like, I worked at Waltham, but like Waltham has one that was called Watch, Read, Listen, where they really focused on picking a title that had multiple formats to participate. So they would do a summer long kind of programs around a theme based around that book or title. And I think that would be really cool in the future, not this year, but to kind of do something similar where it encourages people to enter at whatever level. Like maybe they can only watch the movie and the book is a little bit too much for them or whatever, but they can still engage in the conversation around the topics. And so I really like, it's been something on my mind that I'd like to see us do in a bigger way. So I hear you.
Yeah.
Sounds like an interesting new approach. That sounds very good. Okay, so we do have the Library and Arts and Exhibitions Committee report from Carol now, her last as her swan song here.
Yes, I have a fairly brief report because we really didn't make much progress, I'm sorry to say, on scheduling artists. So I'm afraid that'll be some leftover business. But right now, there's a wonderful exhibit with the Omar Khayyam artwork illustrating the Goblin Market. These are original illustrations framed from the book, children's book, and they're marvelous. And I hope you will see them. And if you can't see them in person, then look online on the website because they're there. And then we'd already talked about April. You had approved, and in the past, Open Studios has April exhibit, and it's a group show. And May is a group show of NHS Needham High seniors and Boston Globe Scholastic Award winners, typically. And in June, then we have the exhibit about bones that you approved at our previous meeting with Dr. Sandra Scheffelbein and Colleen Pierce's illustrations. Sandra is the scientist and Colleen is the artist, and putting those two things together. And
they're going to do a talk as well, right?
Well, I'm waiting to hear from Gay Ellen about that. I'm hoping, haven't heard. So if she's been able to organize that, but it'll be the gallery wall and not the case, I guess, not the display case. Originally, it was thought it would be, but I heard from Gay Ellen today that it won't be needed. And so that will be used for the Friends of the Needham Library. In conjunction with this 50th anniversary, they'll be, they've been creating some things to display. So I would like to have that approved. And there are a couple other artists that the committee had approved, but Gay Ellen has not yet scheduled. So I guess we'll leave that for later. So I would just like to have approval for the Friends of the Needham Public Library to exhibit. They actually have priority. The library and its supporting organizations do have some priority over other exhibitors, according to our policy.
Yes.
We'd certainly want them to have that space. So if we could have a motion to have this board approve that, that would be great.
So moved.
Second.
Can I just ask, so what is it they're putting in the case?
I don't know exactly what it is, but
Okay, is
you know,
it
they're like
just
artifacts.
like information about the Friends?
You know, it's
Maybe
got the
50 years worth of Friends history.
history, you know.
Oh, okay,
history of the
information about the Friends and the history,
So
okay.
this is the 50th anniversary celebration. That's, you know, that's part of the deal, is to portray some of the key actors and the history. So
Bowl with cream of wheat. A pig.
Cream of wheat.
Those are the early Friends programs.
Oh. Okay, well, we'll look forward to it. So there's a motion and a second. All in favor of putting the Friends of the Needham Free Public Library into the art case in, did you say June?
June, I understand.
June. I'll take a roll call. So Anna Geraldo Kerr,
Aye.
Rob Pettit,
Aye.
Tom Harkins.
Aye.
Erhard Grafe,
Aye.
Carol Thomas,
Hi,
Dave Fialkov,
Aye.
and KK Hill, me, aye. Unanimously approved. Thanks, Carol, for all your hard work over the years on the arts and exhibitions. There's been a lot of beautiful work to look at during that time.
back in your lap, probably.
Yeah.
We'll talk
Hopefully,
about
I do love the goblins. I'm a sucker for that kind of incredibly beautiful, carefully drawn illustration work. So the MacGyver series, is there news on that?
No news.
Is that over?
A couple of, no, I'm trying to have two possibilities, a little bit, you know, just not going anywhere with the discussion. So I may just end up with just one event, which I'm okay with that, but I'm still trying. So I'm just going to give a few more weeks and see. If not, I'll just make an executive decision to stop. So that's all.
I do have a question about that. Traditionally, you know, it has been the vice chair who manages the MacGyver series. A longtime library supporter did raise the question to me about whether at this juncture, since the MacGyver series, I guess, is in honor of the previous director, the previous director, and was established in her honor. And now that at a time when there was much less robust programming happening at the library in terms of that sort of programming, you know, lecture series, and that, do we want to consider whether we still need to keep doing the MacGyver series? So that was something that was asked to me. And I don't know if anybody has thought. I mean, Tom was around. Here's historic memory here, Tom. Is this
Vivian
something
was
that
actually
you think
she
needs
was the
to keep going forward?
previous director.
3 ago.
Yeah, she was 3 ago.
3 ago, okay.
She was director when I was on the board. Yeah. And she's
And
a
so
lovely-
the question that
lovely
was
lady.
raised,
And
would there
Vivian
be any offense
the-
taken?
Huh? What?
I'm sorry, we're having overlap here. So
Oh,
would there
okay.
be any, so I guess the question was raised to me was, would there be any offense taken by the MacGyvers if the library did not continue doing the MacGyver series.
I don't know if there'd be any offense. I mean, Vivian's two children are still in town, and they're here, and they sometimes, Carol, one of them sometimes attends the events, you know, but I think it would be a nice. I'd hate to continue it. It can involve, but I'd like to keep the name, you know, for something, so some program we do. Remember, I don't know, don't you remember, but I remember when we first did it, when the trustees established this, it was a one book read, you know, a discussion group. I think the first book was Scarlet Letter. We did a Scarlet Letter. And that was the first book. And then it evolved to, it was a book discussion for a while. And then it was, then it turned into a movie. Charlie Henderson made it into World War II movie program. And then since then it became more of a lecture series, you know, that's what it was, you know. So that's how it evolved into that. And now it's on elections and lectures and performances, you know. So it's evolved, but it's kept the name, Vivian MacGyver.
Yeah, I've done two MacGyver rounds, two times. And this is my second time or third, I don't recall, but I've done it more than once. And my approach has been to kind of fill in the holes. I know there's a lot more programming. That's very true. There are more book clubs, there are more programming. So what I kind of noticed what is already being offered. So what is not being offered. So for example, like Tom said, the MacGyver series, when I started, it was more about lecture series, but last year and this year we've done family oriented, which it was out of the norm, you know. So that's what I'm trying. This one that I'm working on is a movie with a panel discussion, but we're trying to figure out the copyright and whatnot. It's a little bit complicated because there are like 8 different partners, organizations trying to do it. So it's evolving. I think there's a place for it. Maybe not as often, maybe 1 or 2, something special. And if we have some funds, maybe we can channel those resources for some, like a speaker or something specific that is not, that adds to the vast portfolio of offerings. So, but I think it can still play a role.
Good. I just thought I'd put that out since that was sort of a long time prominent library supporter that posed that question to me. So any other comments on that topic? Okay. So now the Friends, any news from the Friends? Well, we do have news from the Friends, I'm sure. Yay.
So there's a good amount to report for the Friends. I can even share some images, but the first thing is that we have, as part of the regular series of events, Marcia Bemko, who's the executive producer of Antiques Roadshow. You can see this, right?
Yep.
She's appearing March 26th, at the library as part of the regular Friends series. She tells me they're going to have some sneak previews from the recent Boise event that's not yet been on television. I understand that out of the 110 spaces available, 90 have already been reserved. So if you have interest in that, you should probably reserve a spot. And then you've all seen, obviously, because I sent it to you, the information about this Doris Kearns Goodwin event, fundraiser for the library at Needham Town Hall to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Friends and the 20th anniversary of the foundation. I'll just share it. They're putting together the art for the poster that is tentatively ready. They have to add the sponsor logos, but this is what it's going to be, in the next day or two. And we have the press release that's going to go out that identifies all of the various funders, the sponsors of the event. The tickets have gone on sale just for a few days. And I understand that we've already sold 150 out of the 400 tickets for the Doris Kearns Goodwin event. The premium tickets have already sold out. So I hope people acted fast. It may well be that we'll be able to add more premium tickets because some of those are allocated for sponsors as part of the sponsorship package. And we're going to be checking with them to make sure that to the extent that they're not using any of those, we'll have those available as well to sell. It's been a ton of work. I'm glad that the Friends only have a 50th anniversary every 50 years because I'm not ready to do another one of these things. But there has been a big team event by the Friends in collaboration with the foundation. We're all on the same page. And we have reason to believe we're going to raise a substantial amount of money for the library. And the last thing just happened a couple of days ago, and it's a bit of serendipity, but I went to a meeting at Berklee College of Music, and I sat next to an old friend of mine who happens to be the manager of Livingston Taylor. Do you know Livingston Taylor? The artist Livingston Taylor, some of you may know.
Of course, yes.
And I know Livingston a little bit. And in any event, a short conversation led to the now plan, and we're not including this in the publicity, but Livingston is going to open the event with a rendition of America the Beautiful, which was written by the words written by a Needham native, Catherine Lee Bates. And I don't know what else he might do for that thing, but it's it'll be I think a nice touch. We're planning to follow up with the high school, who've been enthusiastically participating in terms of offering volunteers to help during the event and preparing for a question and answer session with Doris. And the pieces are falling into place, and it looks like it's happening. So should be a very exciting night. I'm hoping and assuming that you'll all be there and you'll invite your friends. We are going to have, we got the tickets of, going late last week with the materials I sent you, but there may be some sort of updated art. So if you were planning to send information to other people, you may want to wait a day, or a couple of days in which we will be able to share with you the poster image and all that other stuff. I'll share it with you guys as soon as it's done. So it's been fun, interesting, and looking forward to it.
Great.
Anna.
Yeah, Jay, remind me if the event is going to be recorded. Some folks that I may be reaching out, for health reasons or other reasons, they still want to participate. I wonder what are you thinking about that?
The current position of Doris's agent was not to let it be recorded because of her commitments to other television channels. But we're going to have a phone call with Doris, and I'm going to take another stab at seeing if she'll make an exception for the Needham channel, which I don't think should concern CNN. So we'll take another stab at it. So far, they've resisted our inquiries about possibly recording it, but it's a possibility, though I think at this point, perhaps not likely. Maybe we'll be able to work it out so that the Needham channel can record some of it for purposes of having some sort of report, at least, about the event. So it's on our minds, but we're not sure exactly how that's going to play out.
And you can always add a donation link.
I can get a bootleg.
You can get a bootleg?
Yeah.
Thanks, Tom.
I was saying that you can always add a donation link at the bottom of the Needham channel. You can always kind of extend that donation.
Well, I think we're the Friends and the foundation perhaps are viewing this as not the end of an effort to raise funding for the library, but sort of a kickstart for a continuing effort to follow up with the names that we get from these tickets to sort of support our continuing efforts for both the Friends and the foundation to raise funds for the library. So that's the story. I think that's the whole story.
Thank you, Jay. And then on to Joan, who reports on the Library Foundation, which is involved as well, right?
Yes. We at our last meeting, we voted to endorse and participate financially. So we were glad that we could finally get that settled. We're still working on checking on the inscriptions that we've sold. We have 75 inscriptions, but it's taken us a long time to double check. And we've made some phone calls just to make sure they're totally accurate, and we've included everyone that wanted one. And so we're hoping to finish with all of that checking and then send it over to Suburban Glass, who will give us our estimate as to what it'll cost. But we've collected from just the inscriptions over 26,000. So we thought that was good. Yes.
Wow.
Unfortunately, our February treasurer's report came out, and our endowment dipped a little bit, but it's still at over 1.6 million. So it's at.
Did we have any money in the Silicon Valley Bank?
No, nothing like that. But we're at 1,679,000. So it's still healthy. And it's
Healthy.
yeah, and it's been rebalanced. So Lightship does a very good job of really watching it. And that's it. We meet next week.
That sounds, thank you very much, Joan. It's wonderful work the foundation does, and we appreciate everything. So we are at the end of our meeting tonight, unless there are trustee comments.
Yes.
Anna and Tom both seem to have a comment.
Yeah, I want to thank Kay for a wonderful year as chair. I know that you've really been through many different new firsts, with appointments and meetings and so on. So I really want you to know that I appreciated all the support, help, the brainstorming sessions and so on. And, collaborating with you has been great.
Thank you, Anna. It's quite a year. So I appreciate your comments. And others? Anyone?
Yeah,
Tom, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I did. At the beginning, Kim mentioned that she's going to be at the Library Legislative Day. We used to go to that a lot. That used to be a good time. But was reminded that, our state rep, Denise is on the library caucus in the State House. And the other day we were talking to her, and her heart was there too, and we both talked to her. And I reminded her that one time she had a meeting with all the trustees from Needham, Dover, and Medfield, the community she represents. And she said, when I mentioned that to her, she said, yes, we should do that again. So maybe the board should consider inviting her or organizing a joint meeting. I don't know how under open meeting law, how we could do it, but you could do it somehow.
So to meet with the Medfield Library Board of Trustees, is that what you're?
Yeah, but Denise Garlick would get all the boards together, Dover, Medfield. And
Oh,
Needham,
I see.
and then she'd listen to our concerns of what she wants legislation to do. A mini legislative day.
Great idea. Okay, any other further trustee comments before we adjourn? Okay, in that case, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. I don't hear one.
I'll move that we adjourn.
Thank you, Jay. A second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, I'll have a roll call. Anna Geraldo Kerr,
Aye.
Rob Pettit,
Aye.
Tom Harkins,
Aye.
Erhard Grafe,
Aye.
Harold Thomas,
Aye.
Dave Fialkov,
Aye.
KKL. Aye. So the meeting is officially adjourned. Thank you very much. And we'll be back next for our special meeting.